First of all, during my encounters with other people that have been awakening and going through this process, I have noticed that everyone's process of awakening and energetically ascending is very different and very individual. So let me share a little bit of my experience. I've shared it before, but let's make a recap so we can see where we are at. So the real awakening, yes, where the shift actually starting to happen within myself was in June 2024, last year, yes. Before that, it started in 2012, where things were coming to the surface in order to become conscious about them and release them. But that part, unfortunately for me and probably for many, was when I got into ego and I got into fear instead of understanding what is the cause of the feelings that and thoughts I was having. And that lasted since, yes, recently, from 2012. How it happened for me. So in June last year, it sounds last year, but it's just a few months ago. One of my fears and one of my wrong beliefs about myself came to the surface, and I become aware that is not true what I was believing inside my subconscious, and how this was leading to a part of the way that I was living. And I have let it, I have changed it with the truth. So I had this convincing that I don't look good enough, that I'm not smart enough, that other people will judge me. So therefore, I was terrified, and I would never imagine that I would actually, I was terrified that to record myself or to be seen by others, like on videos or on social media, on live especially, or me talking. I was convinced that this will never happen. Yes. So somewhere during my life, I understood and took wrong information that was telling me that I'm not, I don't look good enough, I'm not smart enough, whatever. So this was the beginning. Yes. And I have realized, because I have realized more and more, that actually, even though I knew for many years, yes, for me it wasn't something that just happened suddenly. I was different all of my life, and I was affected by the negativity outside of the world. The only thing is, and the big difference is, I was seeing the world from the lower egotistic mind and myself. So that is why I'm telling this. I'm trying to tell this story, but it's hard to make it short, right? So we can see the difference and the evolution that is taking place during the awakening process and during the energetical ascension process. Okay, so this was one thing. I realized uh, in those moments that everything is a lie, and everything, the outer world is a lie. So I have made the courage to change my wrong belief that didn't belong to me, that I don't look good enough, and that I'm afraid to go on live TikTok and be judged by others directly or indirectly. So I've done this. At the beginning, it was all the fears were, coming, and I was blocked, of course, and I was blocked and like wouldn't let myself, the real self, talk, the real self that I wasn't even too much aware of, the real self that actually was supposed to talk their truth from the beginning. Yes, the real self that wasn't supposed to get lost and get hurt and have their wings cut off. Then another thing was another thing similar to this, but then while I was starting to speak finally and let myself be the real me, which I wasn't even aware of because the lies were telling me that I'm not good enough, I'm not smart enough, I don't have any information. What can I offer to the world? Yes, if I come on live TikTok, what could I offer to the world? Because at the same time, before this, I never wanted to be the person who, um, and I never was the person who would say, okay, this TikTok is a way of making money. TikTok is a way of making myself feel accomplished in one way, liked by other people, blah, blah, blah. So I'm going to go on TikTok and create content. Yes, that was never something I wanted to do, and it is never, it is not something I want to do even at the present moment. Okay, so while I started to speak the truth, my truth, things were coming very easily from here, from inside myself, yes? And while I was speaking the truth, and that was the truth about the falsity of the outer reality. I started to feel, and this was happening only I was recording videos. I started to feel my heart chakra, the love that I am. Yes, I never felt that, and this was only happening like for 3-4 days while I was doing that. Of course, with this happening, I knew that finally what I was thinking, what everything that I've heard and was resonating with me was true. Yes, because something finally happened out of the ordinary that was showing me everything that I was hoping, thinking, discovering about this spiritual part was actually true. So I knew something is, this is a clear sign, spiritual, everything that I was thinking and feeling and hoping for was true. I knew that all of the doubts that sometimes appeared in when the ego took over were actually going away. Yes, and by this happening, feeling my heart chakra and the love just a little bit, not much, to be honest. Yes, it was just a little bit. And how it felt while I was talking. So my throat chakra was finally unlocked. And while I was talking, speaking the truth that I am and the truth that it is, I could feel the love in here and just a little bit. Yes. And then this love, while I was talking, would express itself through me having smile on my face. Yes. So I realized that was the inner smile. So of course my ego got very happy, yes, and wanted to know more, and my ego, and somehow because we all have this hope for the suffering and the hardship to finally be over, we somehow think, when we wonder about the point of life and everything else, we kind of have a deep hope that something will suddenly happen, and the whole world and ourselves will change suddenly. Yes, so that's why at this very beginning point, I was very excited, yes, and my mind was wandering and wandering. After 3-4 days of me talking, telling the truth, yes, talking about the and the things that I was realizing more and more, yes, and was confirming what I already felt all of my life. While I was talking about the falsity of the outer world, um, for 3 or 4 days, after a while, after 3 or 4 days, I took like a break and didn't speak, but then I spoke again. And this thing with the heart chakra feeling stuff, I wasn't feeling anymore, yes? And my ego was like, oh, what's happening? How come nothing is happening anymore? And I'm awakening and blah, blah, blah. But then the whole period of Lionsgate, which I think it was about 1 month, I have I have, if I look back, I have actually shifted. Yes, I have shifted to another what we call energetical level. Yes, so things were happening for me during like the whole month of Lionsgate portal, were happening like kind of in a fast-paced way, but at the same time slow. And it was happening, so there were small changes, and it was happening so subtle. So let's say, yeah, so after I realized and confirmed the thing that the outer world is a lie, and then I was into this step where most of us are, where we still have the tendency to believe and to blame the outer world and to see the evil in the world. And at this stage we will think things like, there is this 1% that is the dark part, and that is actually controlling the whole humanity. Yes. But then, while you go more and more into this shifting, you understand that actually, you don't understand yet. Well, in my experience, like I've said, I'm repeating, everyone experiences extremely differently. So some kind of information comes to you from your higher self that tells you the outer. So I was speaking because this helps a lot. It helped a lot to speak out loud, and because I'm not used with speaking with myself out loud, speaking on here, yes, and recording myself helps bring things to the surface. Of course, some things are just coming, yes, from the higher self. So while I was speaking, like I'm speaking now, during this process at the beginning, something came that told the outer reality is a mirror. Yes, it's not about manifesting something into reality, but it's about the fact that you are the creator. This micro universe, yes, and that actually what we have been doing till now, we haven't realized that we are the creator of the outer so-called reality, and that what we have been doing till now, because we have been sleeping and because we have identified ourselves with the outer world, we have fought and went against the world. Yes, like if someone attacked me in some way, if someone upset me in some way, if I didn't like someone, yes, I would get away from this person, so don't want to be around this person, and I would be affected in here because I would keep encountering during my life this kind of people, yes, who, so at the last place of work that I was still trying to work, because definitely I wasn't supposed to work, yes, in this 3D so-called reality, and I knew at a deeper level, yes. The last place I was trying to work, everything was okay. All the people were good, okay. Nobody was someone to drive me crazy and whatnot. But there was this person who was, of course, assistant manager, who was, of course, something that I didn't like. Yes. So again, from where I was there, yes, unawakened, I blamed the world. Yes, because I could see the falsity. I could see the ideas that were not something for me. Yes, I wanted to be, I didn't like injustice. I didn't like um, uh, all these rules that have no, I didn't like that we have to be enslaved in all ways possible, and much more, yes. But these things I kept, even though I could see myself that I'm different, yes, that I have better qualities, and the other outer world seems to be totally different that I am. So what I've done, um, before I wasn't awakened, I isolated myself and didn't want to be in this world anymore, yes. And every time I would go into the world, if I would find someone that had these qualities, yes, qualities that were bothering me. So from that point of view, while I was at that level of being unawakened, I was having trouble with the outer world. Yes, if someone was coming telling me something, I was fighting against them, and I was putting my whole attention on them. Yes, but so during the first phase or the first stage of the awakening and the first stages of ascension process, this information comes to you that tells you the outer world is your mirror, is your creation, and you things like, okay, and then things like, so the mirror, so if you have, and then things like, if you have a smudge in here, yes, and you see it on the mirror, yes, you don't go into the mirror to put off the smudge, yes, to take off the smudge. You go on here on the real you, yes, and then you realize from this information that actually, if you have a problem, um, yes, you first go here, not on the outer world. You don't try to sort it out. Yes. So this information comes to you, but it needs um, to make sense in the superficial logical mind that belongs to the ego, and it takes time, and then it needs to get integrated to find a balance between the egotistic mind and your higher self. Yes, because that's where we are going. So you have this information, but then you don't really understand it as you think, because the ego is in. And then in my experience, at some point, I met a lady on the street after my cat died, and I was very upset. And this lady was telling me something like this. You shouldn't feed the foxes anymore, because I was feeding the foxes. People on the street are watching you, are talking about you. I don't want to intervene, but yeah, you be careful. So this was definitely something that at that point I didn't understood yet exactly. I was trying. But looking back now, definitely was an obvious creation of myself to help me realize, to wake up, that I am actually the creator of that I have created this person. So I have suffered. So before my true awakening, I have fallen into extreme anxiety and didn't want to be around any people, yes, because I was hurt. My ego was hurt. I liked to go out at night after 11, if even, with my cat, which apparently was liking walking with myself at night because it was very quiet. So I would have these walks, but many times, because I've been on antidepressant, I was on antidepressant, and I was trying to get off them every year probably. So I was having moments when I was still feeling very anxious going on the street. Yes. So I was always had this feeling that I don't want anybody to come into my space. Plus I like to stay on the street at night and just relax and take it in. Yes. Which most of the people would find very weird. So I just felt like always I had this thing. Yes. That, or if I was very bothered because everyone has cameras. Yes, everyone has cameras at the house. So I didn't like to be watched. I was like, I just needed to be alone, to be able to enjoy with no interruption. But then, instead of me actually being in the zone, yeah, I was distracted by these fears. Yes. So guess what that was? This lady that was telling me, oh, be careful, the people are watching you, they're talking about you. It was my creation from a lower vibrational energy, from fear. Yes. Okay, so then I didn't exactly realize it. I had an idea. Yes. Then another lady came, another neighbor, which probably was connected. Yes. That brought some cat food that I left for the foxes, and they didn't eat all of it over the night, and put it in a bag, but didn't knock at my door, and left a note, don't feed, don't do this anymore, blah, blah, blah. And of course, I got very angry. Yes, I was like, because I already had my partner, which is exactly the same like this person, who, first thinks about you attract rats. Oh, very scared of rats. Don't do that, don't do that. Don't feed anything. So I already was sick and tired of this experience. So I was like, okay, another, now it's a neighbor. I was like, would you please leave me the F alone to do whatever I want? And I was annoyed because I was like, you only think about yourselves, about your order. You have a house and blah, 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 but you don't think about anything else. Yes. I was very attacked, but I left it or whatever. So at this point, I had the information. That the outer world is actually a mirror of myself. I had the information that I was actually the creator of my reality. I also had the information in the meantime, which while I was speaking like this, an information came that told me that the everything that I see outside is not real, and my mind was like, huh? um, so I had that information, but I was not able yet to see it, to accept it, because my past mind, my lower mind, my egotistic surface level mind was telling me from the subconscious that, what do you mean I am the creator? Yes, what do you mean? You know, I wasn't seeing myself as myself, which is the consciousness, which is God. Yes, I'm still having trouble seeing that. Yes, because it is a process. Thank you so much for listening. Wait for the next part. I'm going to post it on my page as soon as I will be recording it.